The perfect bracket has continued to elude us as a whole through March Madness history, but no one has ever picked a bracket using the best alumni hitter in the MLB from the schools. Until today, I have selected a bracket using the school's top hitter in the MLB based on total hits across their entire career. But here's the twist. I didn't just pick the top hitter, as that would be San Diego State with Tony Gwynn. Each round, it would go one step down the leaderboard. For example, the second round would be the second highest hit getter in MLB history for that school. The third round, third highest hit getter, and so on and so forth, all the way to the championship game where we will be drawing from the school's sixth top MLB hit getter in history. Let's see if I've finally cracked the code to getting the perfect March Madness bracket with this method.
Now let's get into the bracket. First, we have the South region. We have a 16 play-in game here, Alabama State and St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Mike Reba of St. Francis, Pennsylvania has 58 hits. He will win the play-in game for St. Francis over Alabama State and Billy Parker, who had 56 hits. Unfortunately, they will run up against 1 seed Auburn and Hall of Famer Frank Thomas, who has career 2,468 hits. Auburn will move on to the second round. In our second matchup, we have 8-seeded Louisville and 9-seeded Creighton. Louisville's top hit getter was Adam Duvall with 771. Creighton's was Scott Service with 611. Duvall moves Louisville into the second round. Michigan squares off against UC San Diego. Michigan's all-time hit leader is Charlie Gehringer with 2,839 MLB hits. UC San Diego's is Edgar Gonzalez with 122. Texas A&M versus Yale. Texas A&M has Chuck Knobloch with 1,839 career MLB hits, but Yale has Jim O'Rourke with 2,639. They move on to the second round. In our next matchup, we have another play-in game, San Diego State University and UNC. UNC has BJ Surhoff leading them in MLB career hits with 2,326. Quite a lot. But San Diego State has Tony Gwynn with 3,141 career hits, moving them on to the actual matchup, where Ole Miss has G. Walker with 1,991 career hits, not enough to top Tony Gwynn. San Diego State is moving on to the second round. Iowa State versus Lipscomb. Iowa State's all-time MLB hits leader is Lance Richburg with 806 MLB career hits. Don Blasingame is Lipscomb's career MLB hits leader with 1,366, enough to move Lipscomb onto the second round. Ralph Shiners is the all-time leading hits getter for Marquette University with 110. New Mexico's is current Pirates infielder Nick Gonzalez with 121. Michigan State has Steve Garvey with 2,599 career MLB hits. And Bryant's all-time leading hits getter in the MLB is James Karinchak with 0. James Karinchak, one of my least favorite players in MLB history. Now, as we move on to the West Division, we have Florida with David Eckstein, 1,414 hits. Norfolk State has Terry Bradshaw, no, not that Terry Bradshaw, with 17 MLB career hits. UConn's George Springer comes in with 1,326 career hits, in counting, but it is not enough to top Bobby Mercer's 1,862 career MLB hits for Oklahoma. They're on to the round of 32. Memphis boasts Tim McCarver's 1,501 MLB hits, which is better than Colorado State's Cisco Carlos 4 MLB hits. Maryland's Buck Herzog has 1,370 MLB career hits, but Tim Salmon is an alumni of Grand Canyon University, and he has 1,674 career hits, moving on the Antelopes. All-star second baseman Ian Kinsler is alumni of Mizzou, and he has one shy of 2,000 career MLB hits. Drake's leading all-time hit getter was Larry Bittner with 861, not enough for the Bulldogs. Texas Tech has longtime journeyman catcher Josh Bard as their all-time leading hits getter with 252. UNC Wilmington also has a catcher as their all-time leading hits getter, with Ryan Jeffers coming in with 284, not enough to best Bard. Bob Allison is Kansas's all-time leading hits getter with 1,281 career MLB hits. Arkansas has Johnny Ray, however, with 1,501, enough to move the Razorbacks on. St. John's Rich Arilla comes in with 1,576 career MLB hits. Omaha's Bruce Benedict with 696, not enough. On to the East region, we have another play-in game. American University's Frank Funk comes in with 3 career MLB hits, but Mount St. Mary's Dan Castillo comes in with 85, moving them on to a matchup with Duke and Dick Grout, who has career MLB hit count of 2,138, moving on the Blue Devils. Mississippi State's all-time leading hits getter in the MLB is Rafael Palmeiro with 3,020. Baylor has all-time nice guy David Murphy, but niceness doesn't always win ya. He only has 950. Oregon's all-time leading hits getter is Joe Gordon with 1,530. Liberty's is Sid Bream with 819. Kenny Lofton, who should be a Hall of Famer, is Arizona's all-time leading hits getter with 2,428. Akron's is Joe Neal, a player that played in the 1800s, so we're not going to use him. JT Brubaker, a pitcher, is Akron's leading all-time hits getter in the MLB with 3. I mean, technically, it is Neal, but I just don't want to acknowledge that. BYU's Dale Murphy collected 2,111 career MLB hits. VCU's All-Star Brandon Inge had 1,166. Dale Murphy moves on. Wisconsin's Harvey Keene had 2,092 career MLB hits. Montana University has never had an MLB player. St. Mary's Harry Hooper has 2,466 career MLB hits. And baseball powerhouse Vanderbilt has Dansby Swanson with 1,042. St. Mary's upsets Vanderbilt in this baseball bracket. Alabama's all-time MLB hits getter is Joe Sewell with 2,226 MLB hits. Robert Morris has Bob Galasso with 0. Then finally, wrapping up the round of 64, we have the Midwest region. For Houston, we have a Houston Astros great Michael Bourne with 1,272 career hits. SIUE has Champ Summers with 350. Gonzaga has Jason Bay with 1,200 career MLB hits. Georgia's Glenn Davis, not Big Baby Davis, has 965. Clemson's Bill Spires has 922 career MLB hits, while McNeese's Ben Broussard has 561. Clemson moves on. Purdue and Bill Scorin have 1,566 career MLB hits, while High Point University's Dick Culler has 372. On go the Boilermakers. Former MVP Lou Boudreau is Illinois' all-time leading hits getter. Who will he face off against? Texas or Xavier? Pinky Higgins is Texas's all-time leading hits getter with 1,941. However, Xavier may have the best player named so far, with Frank Robinson coming in at 2,943 career MLB hits. Xavier moves on to the round of 32. Kentucky has a new legend in MLB The Show 25, Jason Kipnis, with 1,147 career MLB hits. Troy has Fred Hatfield with 493. Kipnis is moving on to the round of 32. UCLA's all-time leading hits getter in the MLB is Chris Chambliss with 2,109. Utah State's is Tom Robson with 10. Tennessee has another Hall of Famer here in Todd Helton as their all-time leading hits getter with 2,519. Wofford has Dan Budden with 551. Todd Helton is moving Tennessee on to the second round. Now we're in that second round, the round of 32, we move back to the South region. And here's where things can get a little weird, as Auburn's second all-time leading hits getter in the MLB is Josh Donaldson with 1,310. Louisville's is catcher Will Smith of the Los Angeles Dodgers with 554. Auburn is moving on to the Sweet 16. Michigan has George Sisler in second place with 2,812. Yale's Sam Melee cannot keep up with 916. Michigan will join Auburn. San Diego State, off the back of Tony Gwynn, is here, and their second all-time leading hits getter is Mark Grace with 2,445. Lipscomb's is Caleb Joseph with 281. San Diego State continues their Cinderella run. New Mexico State's second all-time leading hits getter is Joey Ortiz with 112. Michigan State's is Kirk Gibson with 1,553. Kirk Gibson is moving on to the round of 16. Now to the West, Florida's second all-time leading hits getter is Mark Ellis with 1,343. Oklahoma's is Dale Mitchell with 1,244. Mark Ellis has the edge here. Memphis' second all-time leading hits getter is Dan Ugla with 1,149 MLB hits. Grand Canyon University has Chad Curtis with 1,061 MLB career hits. Dan Ugla is moving on. Mizzou's second all-time leading hits getter is Glenn Wright with 1,219. Texas Tech has Chuck Harrison with 241. Mizzou is on to the Sweet 16. Arkansas's Kevin McReynolds has 1,439 MLB career hits, while St. John's Mike Jorgensen has 833. Arkansas continues their Cinderella run. Now back over to the East, where Duke has Billy Werber with 1,363 MLB hits. Mississippi State has Will Clark with 2,176. Duke is the first 1 seed to fall. Oregon and Carson Bigby have 1,205 career MLB hits, while Arizona's Milt Stock has 1,806. Arizona is moving on. BYU's Wally Joyner has 2,060 career MLB hits. Rick Reinchart of Wisconsin has 864. Wally Joyner moves BYU onto the Sweet 16. St. Mary and Duffy Lewis have 1,518 career MLB hits. But Alabama's Del Pratt has 1,996. Alabama's moving on to the Sweet 16. Now we move back over to the Midwest, where Houston's Tom Paciorek has 1,162 career MLB hits, and Gonzaga has backup catcher Mike Redman with his 649 career MLB hits. Denny Welling of Clemson has 799 career MLB hits, while Purdue's Bernie Allen moves them on to the second round with 815. Xavier has Red Doohan as their second all-time leading MLB hits getter with 961. Kentucky's Doug Flynn has 918, not enough to keep the Musketeers out of the round of 16. UCLA has Todd Zeal as their second all-time leading hits getter with 2,004. Tennessee's Phil Garner with 1,594, not enough. Our first Sweet 16 matchup will be 1-seeded Auburn versus 5-seeded Michigan, where Auburn will have Red Smith as their third all-time leading hits getter with 1,087. Michigan's Ted Simmons, however, has 2,472 and will move Michigan on to the Elite Eight. San Diego State's Greg Nettles with 2,225 career MLB hits versus Michigan State's Rick Miller with 1,046. San Diego State moves on. Back down to the West region, we have Robbie Thompson of Florida with 1,187 career hits for the 1 seed. And Memphis has Jim Hickman with 1,002. Florida moves on to the Elite Eight. Mizzou's third all-time leading hits getter in the MLB was Phil Bradley with 1,058. Arkansas's was Jeff King with 1,091. Arkansas continues their Cinderella story. Mississippi State and Buddy Meyer come in with 2,131 career MLB hits, and Arizona's third all-time leading hits getter is JT Snow with 1,509. Mississippi State are on to the Elite Eight. BYU's Vance Law has 972 career MLB hits, while Bama's Riggs Stevenson has 1,515. Alabama moves on. For the 1 seed Houston, we have Bo Bell with 806 career MLB hits, and Purdue boasts Darrell Chaney with 458 career MLB hits. Houston moves on. Xavier has Buzz Boyle with 389 career MLB hits, coming in third place for their school, while UCLA has Jeff Conine, Mr. Marlin, coming in with 1,982. UCLA moves on to the round of 8. We move back up to the South Division here as we can see whose fourth all-time leading MLB hits getter can move them on to the Final Four. Michigan has Barry Larkin with 2,340, while San Diego State's Harold Reynolds has 1,233. Both great players, but Michigan has a Hall of Famer here. They're moving on to the Final Four. Florida's Mike Stanley is their fourth all-time leading hits getter in the MLB with 1,138. Arkansas has Andrew Benintendi with 1,034 and counting, but as of right now, Florida is moving on to the Final Four. Mississippi State has Huey Cricht with 1,591 career MLB hits. Bama has Luke Sewell with 1,393. Mississippi State is an 8 seed in the Final Four. Houston and UCLA face off to see who can get that last ticket into the Final Four. Houston's bringing Chris Snyder as their fourth best MLB hitter with 467 career hits. UCLA has Chase Utley with 1,885. UCLA is moving on. Now into the Final Four, we will be using the school's fifth all-time leading hitter in the MLB. Michigan's is Bill Freehan with 1,591. Florida has Al Rosen with 1,063. Michigan will be moving on to the championship game. Mississippi State's fifth all-time leading hits getter in the MLB is Del Unser with 1,344. UCLA's Bobby Grish with 1,833, moving them on to the championship game. In the championship game, we'll be using the school's sixth all-time leading hits getter in the MLB. For Michigan, that is John Mayberry with 1,379. UCLA's is Eric Karros with 1,833. UCLA is your March Madness champion. And since they made it this far, UCLA's seventh all-time leading hits getter in the MLB is Jackie Robinson with 1,563.
Thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, remember to drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more cool content like this. Let me know if there was anything that surprised you, any matchups that you really didn't see going that far, if there was a Cinderella team that you really didn't see going that far, or if there was a team that disappointed you. Let me know anything in the comments. They are good for the algorithm. As always, thank you again, and catch you in the next one.